Hey everyone, welcome to this deep dive. It's about the life and work of Nello Altomare.
Oh, yeah.
You might remember him. He was Manitoba's education minister.
Right.
Sadly, he passed away recently.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of news articles and statements here.
Right.
And I think what's really cool about this is
Yeah.
it's not just a typical politician dies kind of story.
I see what you mean.
This is really about how much one person
Yeah.
can achieve in their lifetime
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of legacy that they can leave behind.
That's so true. Yeah, and what I'm finding interesting here,
Yeah.
it's not about political parties at all.
Right.
It's about a person
Mm-hmm.
who dedicated their life to education.
Yeah.
You know, he was a teacher and a principal,
That's right.
and then he went into government.
Exactly.
And what I'm seeing in these articles is his
Mhm.
personality really comes through.
It does.
Like, he's not just remembered for his policies,
Right.
but for who he was as a person.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And across the board, he's described as this larger-than-life presence,
Mhm.
always with a huge smile.
You don't hear that very often, do you?
No, you don't. And it's not just political talk.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like we're seeing it from everybody.
Yeah.
The premier, the School Boards Association,
Yeah.
people who worked alongside him.
Okay.
It really speaks volumes about the kind of impact he had on people.
It really does. And it's interesting, you know, when someone goes into politics
Mhm.
after they've already had a career in something,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, was that always the plan?
Right.
But with Altomare, you really get this feeling that
Yeah.
education was always his driving force.
Absolutely.
And the fact that shortly after being elected, this
Yeah.
was in 2019,
Okay.
he was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
It makes his accomplishments even more remarkable, you know?
It does. Knowing that he was battling cancer
Right.
while still working for Manitoba students
Yeah.
really adds a whole other dimension to his story.
Yeah, it does.
It really emphasizes his dedication.
It really does. And that actually brings us to what's perhaps
Yeah.
his most significant accomplishment.
Yeah.
What will most likely be his lasting legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The Universal School Food Program.
Right. Nello's Law.
Exactly.
So for those who might not be familiar with this, can you explain what it is and why it's such a big deal?
Absolutely. So Nello's Law basically makes sure that every student in a Manitoba school
Okay.
has access to nutritious meals,
Wow.
no matter their family's financial situation.
That's huge.
Yeah, this is a massive step
Mhm.
towards addressing food insecurity.
Right.
And we all know that has a massive impact
Yeah.
on a child's ability to learn and thrive.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's hard to focus on schoolwork
Oh, tell me about it.
when your stomach is rumbling, right?
Absolutely.
I imagine this could have like a ripple effect
It could.
on all sorts of things beyond just academics.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So studies have actually shown
Yeah.
that when kids have access to nutritious meals at school,
Ah.
it leads to better health,
Okay.
better concentration, even fewer behavioral issues.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and by making this universal,
Yeah.
you know, Altomare took away any stigma that kids might feel
Right.
when they need a little extra help.
Yeah.
Every student's on a level playing field, and they all benefit
I see.
from having access to healthy food. It makes things more equitable and supportive, you know?
It does. It really sends a powerful message
It does.
about how the community values their children.
Mm-hmm.
And investing in their well-being means investing in their future.
Exactly. And there's another piece to this, too.
Okay.
Premier Kinnew talked about how passionate Altomare was
Yeah.
about this program.
Uh-huh.
He felt that he had a chance to really make a difference in an area that was his life's work.
That's incredible.
It is. And his colleague, Matt Wiebe,
Right.
he shared memories of Altomare's advocacy
Yeah.
and how they worked together really closely on this, you know, as seatmates in the legislature,
Oh, wow.
which, by the way, is where provincial laws are made.
Right.
Yeah. So,
It sounds like this wasn't just a policy for him.
no.
It was deeply personal.
Very much so. And the impact goes beyond party lines. Even
Really?
Kelvin Gertzen from the PC party,
Okay.
who was a former premier himself,
Wow.
he talked about Altomare as a friend
Okay.
and as an example of how to be better,
That's amazing.
which I think speaks volumes.
It really does. Okay. So we've talked about his personality,
Yeah.
his dedication, and this amazing legacy of Nello's Law.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about now is
Yeah.
what were the specifics of this program?
Okay.
Like, what kind of food are we talking about?
Sure.
How was it all funded?
Right.
And did he face any pushback?
Questions. Yeah.
It's really amazing how one person can champion something so important.
It is.
But I'm also curious,
Yeah.
if this program is so beneficial,
Right.
Why wasn't it already in place?
That's a great question. There are always logistical things
Right.
and money things to consider.
Of course.
When you're implementing something this big,
Yeah.
funding is a major one for sure.
Right.
From what I'm seeing here,
Mm-hmm.
the program is funded through a mix of things.
Okay.
Provincial money, federal money.
Mm-hmm.
Some school divisions are also contributing.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about the food itself?
Right.
Is there a set menu,
Okay.
or do schools have some flexibility?
There are guidelines to make sure the meals are nutritious
Great.
and meet certain dietary needs.
Right.
Think like Canada's Food Guide,
Mm-hmm.
lots of fruits and veggies,
Yeah.
whole grains, lean protein.
Okay.
But the program also gets how important it is
Yeah.
to have cultural diversity and local preferences.
I see.
So schools can adapt menus to fit their students.
Okay.
You won't see a one-size-fits-all thing.
That's good to hear. It wouldn't make sense to
Right.
have the exact same menu everywhere.
Right.
And I imagine getting fresh, healthy food to remote communities
Yeah.
is a challenge.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
The articles mention that the program tries to source locally
Okay.
whenever possible.
Yeah.
But there are roadblocks in those remote areas.
Right.
They're committed to working with local suppliers
Mm.
and indigenous communities to make it work.
Okay.
It seems like they're still working on it.
That makes sense. This isn't just about dropping off food.
No, it's not.
It's about building a sustainable system.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's also about changing mindsets.
Okay.
Nello's law says that access to healthy food
Yeah.
is a basic right.
Right. It is.
And we have to make sure our kids are well fed.
I agree. Did Altomare face any opposition to this?
There are always different viewpoints.
Right.
But I'm not seeing a ton of criticism in the articles.
Okay.
Some people are worried about the cost
Right.
and if it's sustainable, which are valid questions.
Yeah.
Others think we should focus on why poverty exists instead of just giving out food.
Okay. Those are all good points to consider.
Yeah.
It sounds like everyone agrees it's a complex issue
Oh, for sure.
with no easy solutions.
Yeah.
But even with those concerns, it sounds like
Yeah.
most people are really positive about them.
They are. And remember, this wasn't just about passing a law.
Right.
Altomare was really hands-on,
Yeah,
making sure it worked and always trying to improve it.
that's great.
He was really passionate about this right to the end.
And even though he's gone, his impact is still felt.
Yeah, very much so.
Speaking of impact, you mentioned before
Mm-hmm.
that there were tributes coming in from all over.
There were.
What were some that stood out to you?
Oh, there were so many.
Yeah.
One that sticks with me is from the Manitoba Metis Federation.
Oh, wow.
Their minister talked about Altomare's warmth
Okay.
and how genuine he was.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, he mentioned how much Altomare loved
What?
oatmeal raisin cookies.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a small detail,
It is.
but it makes him feel real and relatable.
I love that it reminds us that even in politics,
Yeah.
we're all just people with our own quirks.
We are.
Sometimes it's the little things that mean the most.
So true.
What else stood out to you? Yeah, it really is amazing how those small things can stay with you.
I know.
It sounds like Altomare was someone who could connect with anyone.
He could.
It didn't matter their background or their beliefs.
Absolutely. And you can see that in all the tributes. Like,
Yeah.
people from everywhere were saying nice things.
Wow.
From the federal minister of families to
Mm.
the mayor of Winnipeg.
Really?
Everyone agreed that he was dedicated
Okay.
and that he made a difference.
Wow.
Not just in Manitoba, but across Canada.
That's amazing. It's clear his impact goes way beyond politics.
It does.
So we've talked about him as a person,
Yeah.
his goals and what he leaves behind.
Right.
But what does this all mean for people listening?
That's a good question.
Like, we're not all politicians.
Right.
We can't all create laws that affect a whole province.
Yeah.
What can we learn from Altomare's life?
Yeah. What can we apply to our own lives?
Exactly.
What inspires me about his story is
Yeah.
it shows that one person can really make a change.
Mhm.
He was so passionate about education.
Right?
He saw a problem and wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
It wasn't about him or his career.
Okay.
It was about making life better for others.
He didn't just talk about it. He actually did something.
He did.
And that's what we should all try to do.
Absolutely.
Find things we care about and make them better.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be huge.
No.
Like, you could volunteer at a school.
Right.
Mentor a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Even just being a good friend or neighbor.
Yeah.
All those things add up.
They do. Every little bit helps.
Now, here's the really interesting part.
Okay.
Think about Nello's law.
Mm-hmm.
It was made to help people.
Right.
If you could make a law to improve your community,
Wow.
what would it be?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and why would you make it?
I really want everyone listening to think about that.
Up to.
What are you passionate about?
Yeah,
What needs changing in the world?
that's a big question.
It is, but Altomare shows us
Yeah.
we can make our passions a reality. You don't
Mhm.
need to be famous or powerful.
Right.
Just have the will to do it.
I think that's the biggest lesson from all of this.
I think so too.
Anyone can make a positive change.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a big program like his.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it just helps a few people.
It all matters.
Every act of kindness makes a difference.
It does.
Altimare's legacy isn't just the law,
Right.
it's all the lives he touched.
Yeah. And he still inspires people today.
So as we wrap up,
Okay.
I want you to think about this.
All right.
What's your Nello's Law?
Ooh. I like that.
What positive change will you create?
Remember, it doesn't have to be huge.
No.
Start small, be kind,
Mm-hmm.
and go after your passions.
That's great advice.
You might surprise yourself with what you can do.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the life and legacy of Nello Altomare.
Thanks, everyone.